Good morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with today's tropical update for Friday, October 22nd, 2010. Well, we finally have our next tropical system out in the Atlantic today. This is in the Western Caribbean. We have Tropical Storm Richard. This was as of 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time advisory. Maximum sustained winds were at 40 miles an hour, and movement of Richard currently is pretty stationary. This is the official forecast track by the National Hurricane Center, and you can see basically takes it on that west to west northwest track. And it's funny, this was my initial track a few days ago. I had a feeling this would come closer to the Belize, Yucatan area, and looks like that's where this track is eventually going to take it. Although there is a little concern along the coast of Honduras if this does slip a little farther south, and there is a tropical storm watch currently for the northeastern coast. And just by looking at the pattern and looking at where that high pressure may sit up, this might actually slip a little farther south. And then again, that's all going to depend. And then the intensity forecast is really going to be dependent on how far south Richard does slip. I mean, if it runs over most of this coast of Honduras, then we will not see a hurricane out of this system. A track a little farther north will take it more onto the open waters of the Western Caribbean, and then we could definitely see a hurricane out of this system. The official forecast track by the National Hurricane Center does bring this to hurricane intensity before reaching the coast of Belize or the Yucatan, right in this area in here. So really, it's going to really be dependent upon land. I'm really seeing a stronger high pressure setting up north of this system, so this could push this system a little farther south. And then it'll depend. Could this redevelop over the Gulf down the road? Boy, that's really hard to say right now. Again, a farther south track, and as you've seen these systems, they're just going to die over Central America. A little farther north track, then yeah, it does have the possibility, although down the road, shear will be pretty high across the Gulf. So this is really the best case scenario for the United States, and right now the threat to the United States is pretty low. Looking at the satellite view this morning, we've seen the shear starting to weaken. You're starting to see outflow getting better organized in all the quadrants here, expanding cloud shield here, thunderstorms starting to get closer to the center of circulation down in here. So this system is now starting to slowly strengthen. Hurricane hunters will be out in the system very shortly here, and we should see if this system is getting any stronger. But slow strengthening today, and then again, it's going to be dependent on how close this gets to the northern Honduras coastline here, as whether this becomes a hurricane down the road or not. Again, here's the official forecast track, bringing it up to a Category 1 hurricane strength by early Monday morning as it gets close to the Belize, Yucatan area in here. But definitely the storm should slowly get better organized and start that push off to the west and west-northwest. Although again, we could see this sink a little farther southwest, and then again it would reach the Honduras coastline a little quicker here. So we'll have to watch for that today. Here's the water vapor loop, and you see there was a lot of dry air mixing in with this system. That's really been a deterrent the last few days, and shear. Those are my two deterrents the last few days. I mentioned that a few days back that this would be a deterrent, and it has been. But as this trough starts to lift to the east, high pressure is going to get reestablished to its north, and a lot of this moist air from the east is going to start mixing in with this system, and you're starting to see the environment moistening up little by little, shear starting to get lighter, and we should see a slowly strengthening system today. Again, here's the shear right now, and you can see we're back into that 10 to 15 knot area, where yesterday we were about, getting into that 20 to 25 knot range. So shear is starting to lessen. Upper high getting pretty close to this system right now. So yeah, we could see the system really start strengthening today at a pretty good clip. Systems in this area could strengthen pretty quickly, and if this could stay away from land, we could easily see a Category 1, 2, maybe a Category 3 hurricane if it stays farther north. I'm not too sure about that, but intensity forecasting is pretty tricky in this area, and we've seen systems ramp up pretty quickly. So again, it'll depend on how close to the Honduras coast this system gets. But the higher shear is now to the north, and this should stay pretty far to the north of this system over the next 2 to 3 days as this system moves off to the west. So here's this current steering currents today, and it's kind of in no man's land right now. That's why it's pretty much stationary. We have this trough to its northeast lifting out. High pressure is going to move in to replace this trough to the north. But you can see this kind of is oriented from the north to the south here, this high. So in the near term, as this slips to the east, it could actually push the system a little farther southwest. That's why I'm saying it could get a little closer to the Honduras coast than the National Hurricane Center is currently forecasting. And really going to have to see how that plays out the next 24 hours. And again, that's all going to that will depend on how strong the system gets and how big of a threat it will be to Belize or the Yucatan down the road. So here's the current models, and you've seen the models make that shift. We've seen some of them were lifting this into the Yucatan channel, especially the GFDL and HWRF. But you know, those models in the beginning, we see that a lot with them. Before storm is really even developed, we see the GFDL especially have that bias to the north. That's why everybody was getting a little concerned about the United States, but there was no worries on my part in the beginning because of, and that's how these models go in the beginning. But now we've seen a better consensus off to the west and west-northwest. Again, pushing it in this area. But then we do have a few of those models taking it closer to the Honduras coastline. So this is going to be the general trend with this system now. And here's the GFS ensemble tracks. The GFS has had a really good grasp on the overall pattern here. And you can see a lot of them taking it pretty close to that Honduras coastline. That's why I said we're really going to have to watch this. They're kind of split. Some take them farther southwest, and then some take this track off to the west-northwest. So a very interesting model runs there by the GFS. Intensity models have come down a little bit, again, because it's getting closer to land. We don't really see that explosion into the Category 2 range. Most of them actually now take it less than a hurricane. Most of them are clustered right below hurricane strength, just a few in that hurricane area. So that's going to be interesting to see there. Again, land interaction is going to have a lot to do with that. Current GFDL run here still takes it close to a Category 3 before landfall. Again, taking it just north of the Honduras coastline and then bringing it in close to, like they said, the Belize coast there, then across the Yucatan and then back into the Gulf. Again, I'm not even going to be concerned about forecasting anything in the Gulf right now, whether this would even affect the United States. Again, if this runs over the Central America here, it could just die. And again, shear is going to be pretty high in the Gulf down the road, so I'm not even concerned about that right now. I mean, if you live across the Gulf Coast, yeah, keep an eye on it. You've got to watch this system, but no worries right now. Let's just see what happens in the next 3 to 4 days as it moves into Central America or the Mexican coastline there. Okay, current GFS run. We saw the ensemble models. Here's the GFS run. Again, just skirting that Honduras coastline and then into Belize. And then again, pretty much dies out. Tries to make it west, but then we have big high pressure kind of blocking it as well. And that's what I'm saying. I really don't see this getting sucked back up into the Gulf anytime quickly. And I think we might see one of those systems where it just dies over Yucatan, Central America area in the end. But again, watch it carefully. And then here is the Euro model. Again, same thing, pretty much towards Belize and then weakening. You know, again, same kind of run as the GFS run there. This is the UK Met model. Again, pretty consistent, same kind of run into the Belize area. You're starting to see the pattern now beginning. So it's nice when the models start coming into pretty much agreement. We feel a little good. And again, this was all dependent, as I was saying days ago, was going to depend on how strong this high pressure ridge was going to be. And we've seen it. Definitely all the models are showing a stronger high now, so can't budge to the north, and it's not going to do that. And we have actually another system out there before I leave you guys this morning. This is actually Invest 90L. Pretty interesting spin out here for so late in the season. It's going to be interesting to see if we could get a little system out of this before it moves up to the northwest and out to sea. We do have a trough right in here of low pressure here to its west. So this is not going to come west. It's going to pretty much move off to the northwest. And before the water temperatures get cooler out here, we actually could see this system spin up. Nice spin to it, nice area of low pressure. We actually have some of the models developing this system. So it'll be interesting to see if we could get a system out here this late in the season. It would be pretty unusual. I'd have to check on the historic facts to see how late in a season we've ever had a Cape Verde system. I'll really check on that and get back to you guys tomorrow. But be interesting to see if we do get something to develop out here. Again, obviously no threat to land at the moment, and it won't never be a threat to land. But just a pretty interesting system to watch to see if it does develop. All right, well that's it for today for the tropics. I will have another tropical update for you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great day and stay tuned to liveweatherblogs.com for all your latest weather information.